we've discussed the if statement, and then we've discussed the if-else statement. But there's another thing we can use, which is the else-if. Okay, so let's clear this out and talk about the if, else-if statement. Okay, so we can say if are equal 5 and 5, document.write, first part is true. Okay, and I can say else if are equal 10 and 10. I can say document.write, first part is false and second part is true. I could say else if are equal 20 and 20. And I could write out document.write, first and second part are false, third part is true. And I can have as many else ifs as I wanted. Okay, and then at the end I can just leave it like that, or at the end I can also finally end with an else. Say document.write, first, second, and third part are all false. Okay, so we have our typical if statement like we've always had. In this case here, I'm saying, hey, is 5 and 5 equal? By calling this function. Obviously, I could have just done, is 5 equal to 5 using the identity operator. But for now, we're just going to use the function. And if that's true, then we're going to say, hey, first part's true. And if that is true, this will never get called, nor will this, nor will this. Okay? So let's put on here document.write. We'll just put a BR so we get on a new line. And say, I am outside of the condition if, else statement. Okay. So now when we run this, we're going to see, hey, the first part's true. And it only printed the first part. Okay. So only printed the first part. It did not print out the second or the third, or even the else part. Okay? As long as one of these are true, it will never execute anything in the else if. Now, let's change our condition up here and say 1. Now we run this. It's going to say, hey, the first part's false because 1 is not equal to 5, and the second part's true. Okay? So this was false, so it does not execute this code. Instead, it goes down to our else if and checks this condition. Well, what do you know? Well, 10 and 10 are equal. So it says, hey, the first part's false and the second part's true. Just executes this code, whatever it is. Okay? Let's change this. Is 1 and 10 equal? Well, we know that's going to be false. So this one's going to be false. This one's going to be false. This one's going to be true. Right? So we should get this line printed out. Let's run it. And sure enough, first and second part are false, third part is true. First and second part are false, third part is true. Right? So it worked out, just like we were expecting. So let's say all these are false. Right? So is 1 equal to 20? Well, no, it's not. So if 1's not equal to 5, nor is it 10, nor is it 20. Okay? And so we're going to finally come down to our else, where it says, hey, first, second, and third part are all false. And you see that's exactly what we get here. First, second, and third parts are all false. You do not have to have an else. I can delete that else, run it, and you just simply see the, hey, I'm outside the condition. None of these things were true, so we didn't do anything. Right? But if you did want to say, well, if I didn't do any of this other stuff, I do at least want to run this logic. So it just depends on what your code is trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, as far as which one of these statements you'll use. But that's how the if, else if, and the if, else, if, else